Well, what's up, everybody, and welcome back to yet another episode of What the Fuck FIA. And this time, it's really not directed at the FIA, I think. Well, it's not directed at Bernie, but it might be directed at someone in the FIA. I really don't know. Anyway, this is something I've been working on for a few days. Never really liked what I came up with, but I think I have a handle on what I want to say now. So, this is a response to a few loud voices that I see. I won't say apologizing for, but promoting this new formula in ways that I think are detrimental to the sport. Most vocal that I've seen of this has been Robaxin, and this is nothing against you, Will, if for whatever weird reason you're watching this video. Scary, you're awesome. I dig your journalistic take, your sort of not afraid to say what you think attitude, and your seeming like of Benedict Cumberbatch, which I can appreciate. Cumberbitches unite. But on a serious tone, Will, for you guys who haven't had your eyes glued to Twitter for the past few days, has been very much a promoter of this new sound of Formula One and the direction they're taking in general. And I don't agree with that on bigger things than just the sound. I've already made a video about sound. I hate it. I think it's terrible. Just from my perspective, and I'll clarify that a little. I don't know what they sound like in person. They might sound amazingly awesome in person in ways that will make me instantly forget the V10 era, and they'll be the new best thing ever. I highly doubt that, but I don't know. I can't say that with any honesty because I've not been to a Grand Prix. I don't have the money to go to a Grand Prix. I am right now attempting to get into graduate school to go for my doctorate. That's going to cost a shit ton of money. I don't have the funds to go to a race. I, like many other people who don't have the money for whatever reason they might not, get F1 through the TV, or in my case, streams because I can't be bothered to watch American coverage with commercials every 5 seconds. That's how I get my F1. That's the only thing I can base anything on. And while I think that the volume level can be helped with a little TV mic trickery, I don't think the general tone and pitch of the noise and the character is going to change. But be that as it may, Formula One is taking a weird new direction, and the sound and the engines are only just one part of it. Where they seem to be abandoning what they've been about since it's the sport's inception, really. F1 has always been the pinnacle of motorsport, yes, and it still is in many ways. But it's also had its own unique sort of character. It's sort of epitomized in the 70s. And even before that, I just guess in more subtle ways, it's the big sport. It's the sexy motorsport. It's the motorsport of excess. It is pretty much everything taken to the max. The car's performance, the driver's performance, the women, the men, the money, the this, the that. Everything is to the maximum. Or it was, at least. Like I said, you could really see that in the 70s. In the 80s, same sort of deal. Even though I missed that period of F1 because I wasn't born yet. So I missed all the fun, weird aero things and cocaine. But I started watching F1 in the late 90s, early 2000s, can't remember quite which, and it was the same way then. Everything was to the max. The car performance, the car sound, the drivers pushed to the max. They were actually racing hard, not conserving crap. You had refueling, which, by the way, is more economical than the current regime. You had all kinds of stuff, right? And that survived through the gas crisis in the 70s. That survived through some economic in the 80s. That survived through the dot-com bubble burst. That survived through everything else. And events that happened before then that, of course, I'm missing. Now, all of a sudden, in 2014, that's gone to shit. And we have these new engines, which were supposed to be a cost-saving measure, even though they cost more to develop than it would have cost to continue the V8s with modifications. All of a sudden now we have an eco-centric hard-on in the sport where everything has to be carbon this and emissions that and whatever. And I don't understand why. If you want ultra fuel conservation, everything needs to be conserved and maintained, you have the Endurance Championship. The WEC has been doing a great job at that, and that's where that sort of thing belongs. Just as I wouldn't expect F1 to start racing on ovals. That's a NASCAR sort of thing. That's where that belongs. I wouldn't expect F1 to suddenly, have a touring car division. That's DTM rather in V8 supercars. So why is it all of a sudden that we need to adopt all these endurance mentalities into a sport that should be about maximum performance? You're going for an hour and a half, 2 hours tops session. There's besides practice. Okay, or testing, excuse me. You don't have this endurance mentality, but all of a sudden we're trying to be force-fed it by the regulating body. You have, on top of that, all these extra measures, which cost so much money to develop, and, spoiler alert, they're failing like mad. The ERCUMUKRKX, whatever the hell they're... all these weird new eco things, they're failing left, right, and center. Caterham's gone through 4 of something, I can't remember off the top of my head. And it's insane. We're having these parts that are supposed to be conserved 5 per season, failing left, right, and center. And we're going to have a situation where people are getting grid penalties left, right, and center. Because these things were rushed in. And it's all in the name of pleasing the small, tiny, vocal political minority who think that everything is butterflies and rainbows, and that people shit out pure fertilizer and breathe out pure hugs. But these cars, oh God, no, they're satanic. They're the devil. These cars, and it misses the point. If you want F1 to be truly a better eco-presence, you do what McLaren does and make your factories carbon neutral. You transport your equipment on a train across Europe instead of driving it out there on trucks or flying it out there. You don't set up a calendar that pinballs you from Australia back to your factory to Malaysia to Bahrain back to the factory, then only have to go to China. You make it a logical progression and a logical calendar, so you don't have to deal with this crap. You don't go messing with what has made Formula One for 50 years simply because some guy wants to go hug a tree. It's becoming more than just a sound issue. The sound's just the tip of the iceberg. And yes, I think it sounds horrible. No, I'm not going to get used to it. I won't just get used to it, as some people have said and implied to me, that, oh, you'll just get used to this sound, you haven't heard it enough. I still never was used to the V8s. End of last season, I still hadn't gotten used to the V8 sound from the V10s. And while I doubt we're ever going to see the V10s again, it'd be nice, but I doubt we'll ever see them, I still, no matter what we come up with in the future, will not be getting used to them, because I remember Formula One how it was. I remember when it was about being the pinnacle of motorsport, when it was about taking everything to the extreme, and I will be able to tell any future generation stories about how Formula One was before it started catering to all the eco-mentalists out there.